Okay, let's keep going because a few words I didn't get. V'al ken hem hakakim hakatuv besaram. Okay, ikar hachazat hasheker was the main thing of the strength of falsity. Who babasar haguf is in the body. Okay, now I don't want to scare anybody or get too cryptic. But he's going to go into something very interesting here. Shesham achazat kol ha'atavat. He explains it that the body is the source of falsehood. 1 second. He says why? Because it has pleasure.
Why is that false?
It's not always false, but it can be super false. Okay?
It can be super true too.
Also, 100% love, right? For a beautiful thing, and love. Definitely. I wouldn't know anything about that. But also, it can be a source of a lot of trouble.
No, well, it's an illusion. You know, like, for example, when someone's a child, they have, like, certain things they want, and when they're an adult, there's certain things they want, and when they're the Olam Hamas,
we have about 25 minutes, and the rabbi is going to come. Okay, so it explains here that the body is the source of a lot of false things, and he explains here that the falsity that it's sourcing from is when the snake went with Eve. That before they did the sin, they were pure, and then when the snake went with Eve, whatever that meant, it introduced falsity into the world. So if a man loves a woman, but if he's making adultery, it's beautiful and pleasurable, but it's not right.
And what if he does love a woman?
If he does love a woman, then it's fine.
So it's the same body.
It's explaining that it has the potential to do a lot of damage and is the source of falsehood. Person is my nephew is wheat intolerant. In Pesach, he forced himself to eat matzah. We call it hatzalah. The guy almost didn't make it. He had a horrible nervous reaction. Just explaining that the body could be a big source of misleading and falsity. That's all. So now he's just explaining.
This is said at the end of Eishes Chayil. It's not totally original.
Sheket hahen heva yofi. Yeah.
I mean, you could be beautiful on the outside and vain, and there are things that we see that aren't true.
Right. Okay, but he doesn't want to kill the body or put the body down. Just giving an idea. Let's stay with it. Let's not kill it. Let's stay with it. So he says that the snake is the symbol of lying and cheating. The snake is the international recognized symbol of faking and making trouble and falsity. So the snake was very shrewd. Shatam hu adam v'hava kol hadorot, and this falsity has hurt men through other generations. Likad shahalatanot al habasram hainu al basar haguf shasham kol ha'atavat shematabtam et adam kama lamaot ha'afech kashet. Explains here that these Amorites, what were they doing? They were taking false ideas and putting it on a false body. So they were doing double false things to themselves. They were taking their ideas, which were wrong, they were putting it on their bodies. He's just explaining that it was like a double blind. They were putting false ideas on their bodies that were causing a lot of false things to happen. Let's just stay with it, and he's going to keep going. Okay. Go on page 3. So he just explains here that the pleasures of the body can separate a person from his truth in life, which I'm a very big witness to. And you can totally forget about the truth when you definitely get too much involved with your pleasures. Nothing new. You could give up the whole Torah because of your pleasures. I hate to say it, but I know guys that lost their marriage involved in prostitutes. It's just endless. I mean, I don't have to talk about it. It's endless stuff. People get involved in their pleasures and lose their minds. I don't know names.
No, the reason.
But he's still together, though. He has a $3.3 million townhouse. So
let's keep moving because we have.
He sold his soul to Satan.
20 minutes. זה היינו איסור הכתיבת קרקע, כי אסור לנו להכניס אותיות כתב וחכים קרקע על בשר הגוף. Just explain that there's the issur of writing on the body. שוב בחינץ כתוב שרוצים להקוק אדרבה, משם עיקר אחיזת השקר. כי עיקר האמת צריך שהיה נכתב אחר כך בלב באמת. The true the true truth here, it explains, is when you write it on your heart. When you believe something and you're sincere and it's true, you write it on your heart. You don't write it on your body. That's what a Jew's supposed to do. He believes what's in his heart. He doesn't have to write it on his body. He's writing it on the tablet of his heart. It says you should write it on the tablets of your heart. Don't write it on your body. Don't write it into the physical. Write it into the spiritual. Because your soul is in your heart and in your mind. And this is where it gets very interesting here. It says here, this is the level of too much truth. Now we're starting a new idea. There's a level here of something called too much truth. Yoted midai, which it's too much truth. Meaning that they're writing something that's false. They're trying to show that it's so true that they're writing it down, which originally writing was to establish the truth. But their writing is really establishing even more falsehood. As we see, there's tattoos which show lizards and birds and crazy things. He explains it that they're tapping into the false imagination. He's going to go into it now. It says here, in honesty, everything is dependent on the inner workings of the heart. Even a person can fool himself. It's not so easy, but I'm just going to go through. We're going to get some really good ideas coming up. A person, if he wants to stay in the truth, has to nullify himself, and he does it in his heart. Okay, let's go to page 4. Now it gets very interesting. We have about 18 minutes. Yeah. This is the isur of writing a tattoo. Writing a tattoo is going into the level of the imagination. Behemiyut. It says when a person writes a tattoo, he channels animal imagination into himself.
You mean when he puts it into?
Yeah, he's channeling the animal imagination, as explains it.
Putting it.
Right. כתוב רבנו זכר. על כן, עיקר הכתוב הוא על גבי or behema. He says here, the real writing, the real true writing, is not on a person's body, but on an animal. Here, כי כתוב בחינת בהמה. What does it mean? שכתוב על גבי or behema, אזי מעלה אותה. When a Jew writes on an animal skin, he elevates the animal. When a person writes on his skin, he elevates the animal. He brings out the animal. When a Jew writes tefillin and Torah, he's elevating the animal. When a person writes on his body, he's bringing out the animal even stronger. It's a different.
Oh, you're talking about writing a scroll on an animal's parchment.
Right. So now he's going to explain that.
Like branding an animal.
Well, I'm not good at this. I'm going.
So
I need your help.
Animal skin.
Right. So he can explain to now. Shakatuv al gebi or behema azay ma'ala ota. Behema la'adam So it says here, Sofer ayideh shakatuv alav devarim shebekedusha kagon sefer Torah v'tefilin. We have a Sofer right here. When a Sofer writes in a holy thing, a sefer Torah and tefillin, al ken serichin shaya ha'od me'ovad lishma. He's writing it for the purpose of the mitzvah. Zeh bechinat ibud birud mehadameh. When a Sofer is writing tefillin and a mezuzah and a Megillah and tefillin, what is he doing? He's elevating and refining the imagination. Rabbi Nachman explains, even an animal has an imagination. And he explains here that the imagination, the source of the imagination, is very animalistic if you don't control it. So he explains here that the highest level of elevating the imagination is writing holy articles. Bechinatz behema aval shkatuv otiyot al gabe basar ha'adam. But when a man writes a tattoo on his own flesh, azay hu morid et atzmo, he brings himself down from the holiness. Ki morid atzmo bechinatz adam behena. He turns from a person into an animal. So when he writes when a Jew writes a tattoo, he's causing his body to overcome him with even more animalistic, unhealthy, calls it a poison. Okay, now explain to that. It gets a little creepy here, but explains that when a person writes a tattoo, he's channeling unhealthy imagination, and he's also channeling this snake poison, he calls it. It's the poison of the snake that is false. Okay, now my brother said something very interesting. Snake skin looks like a tattoo. Look at snakes, have designs on them. They're the original tattoos. It's scary because the snake is channeling all this negative imagination.
That's from evil, from the nachash.
Yeah, so it explains that you're channeling all this stuff. It says, in truth, you don't need to connect yourself through the body, but you need to connect yourself. You need to elevate the body. Okay. Let's go to page 5. Alken, Isra HaTorah Ketuv Kaka, because this, according to the Torah, this is the prohibition of writing a tattoo. Page 5. Kmo shekatuv v'ketuvat ka'aka lo tatanu basaram chulu ki sarich lishmor basar haguf. You have to guard your body. You have to protect your body. Shelo lekalkel shelo. Don't damage your body. Don't spoil the body. Ki ketivat hadasa. Kaka shelo lekalkel tzelem. You're not supposed to damage your body. You're not supposed to damage your form, your divine form. The body is divine. It says in the deepest Kabbalah, the body is holier than the soul. That's what it says. Demut hadam shakel mekol halamot. He says here that the body reflects all the upper worlds. As you see in the Chochmah Bin Adas, in the Sefirot, it has a head, it has 2 arms, it has the limbs, and it has, so the body is just reflecting what's upstairs in a spiritual way. ויש לו בכוח ככל עבר ועבר וכל חלק בבשר גופו המשיך העולם לשם יתברך. All the limbs of the body connect to the upper worlds and channel down this holy energy. כי כל חלק מחלקי גופה מיוחד כנגד חלק מהעולם כנגד כמה נפשות כי מונהין תלין בדוגנין מנחין ושרה. Explains that every part of the body is connected to a spiritual part upstairs, and it's channeling down the spiritual into the physical. So the body is reflecting a spiritual body also. Chulu kayotze bazeh b'sheker chelek haguf b'merosh ad haglav. It says that the whole body, from the head to the toe, is connected upstairs. So we're not just bodies born and die. We're also reflecting spiritual power. Ki en shum sa'ara ba'adam v'chen en bo shum eved v'gid v'shum haticha nechet basaro. Says, not one hair is there for no reason. Everything on the body is there for a purpose, and it's channeling spiritual energy. It says that every part of the body is drawing down different souls. It's drawing down soul energy. That's why you're not allowed to write on your body. You shouldn't corrupt your body. Because it's channeling down all this beautiful energy. You don't have to ruin your body.